Working from home today.
Presenting Benny Goodman and his music.
Hey everybody, it's gonna be hot. It's getting hot, hot, hot. I just broke my French press. It happens. I'll get another one. Good morning everybody, welcome along.
Benny Goodman, ladies and gentlemen, the man with the torrid clarinet and the even more torrid...
Good morning, Cindy. There we are. Hey, Kathleen, Chris, Cindy, Lisa, Todd, Karen, Sharon. Hey, Mom. Hey, Jim. Hey, everybody. Yeah, the heat is coming. Well, welcome along. Hey, Jeanette. Hey, Mary. Welcome, welcome. You can see, I don't know if it's quite low enough that it blocks all the sun from coming in there. You can still see it's like generating. But any lower, it's going to block the air conditioning. Hey, Beth. Hey, Carol and Ocala. Hey, Phoenix and Todd. Welcome, everybody. Hey, Kathy. Hey, Janice. Hey, everybody. Welcome along. Hey, Diane. Good morning. Just working from home probably the next couple of days on account of it is blazing outside. Hey, Daddy, Marsha. Yeah, Kristen, still looks like a nuclear reactor, but I haven't quite fixed it yet. How'd that do? Well, that about did it. Still kind of a nuclear reactor. They don't really make curtains the right size. These are sideways that I've had to do. Hey, everybody. Hey, Kathleen. Good to see everybody. Hey, Joanne. Hey, Josh. Good to see you out there. Pardon me. That's the buzzer. I will surely a delivery. Now, there is some times coming up that I won't be able to broadcast. I'm going to be heading out to Boston this weekend to work with a school group. We'll be able to broadcast live from Harvard. Fight fiercely, Harvard. Fight, 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 and demonstrate to them our skill. And hey, out there in Grant Park, Southside Johnny. Coming to you live without the Asbury Jukes. Yes, who? Land shark for sure. Well, here's the land shark. He's just hopping up right now. Miles. Miles here with a candygram for me. Is that right? When I get back from Boston, I've got an appointment to look at cats. Oh. But I don't know if Miles likes being the only cat. Things have gotten untenable and strange. No further comments. Hey, Lynn. Hey, Timothy. Back you can have it yet. There's also a little known Tom Lehrer song where he talks about like the stops on the MTA. The H is for my alma mater, Harvard, and it ends with you put them all together. They spell poo, which is just about what Boston means to me. Oh, I can get stuck on the MTA like Charlie on the MTA. Did he ever return? No, he never returned, and his fate is still unlearned. He may ride forever through the streets of Boston. He's the man who never returned. Okay, well, anyway, we're just going to talk a little bit more today, a little bit more in depth about the family I've been talking about on the Patreon. I know I just did this on the virtual tour lately, but we are going to talk about the Pollard family again. As I've been covering on the Patreon the last couple of weeks, we've been talking about the Pollard family, the first black family in Rogers Park who came here way early on, with the father John W. Pollard, who served in the Civil War, but the records on it get a little bit weird. He served under the name Jackson Ridgway. There was also a John Pollard in his unit at the time, so it's hard to know why he was using that name, but it could be that he showed up and they said, we've already got a John Pollard, call yourself something else. And at the time, a lot of the people in his unit would have been recently liberated enslaved people who hadn't had a name before and were just kind of making one up. So it wouldn't have been unusual to ask him to make up a different name at the time. So there's also, he's usually said to have been a drummer, but the John Pollard who served under that name was a drummer, so it could be a whole giant mix-up. It's hard to tell for sure. One guy we'll be covering in a couple of weeks is Fritz Pollard, his son, who was one of the first black NFL greats before the color line was established. But who we have been covering, besides John, over on the Patreon, we've been talking about Hughes Pollard, who was a drummer. Usually said to have been a jazz drummer, and for a while I thought that might not be quite accurate, and for the most part it kind of wasn't, but there's a lot of data about him, really, because about 1912, before anybody really knew the term jazz, he dropped out of high school to join the band at Riverview Amusement Park and did double duty in the band and in the dunk tank. Now, the dunk tanks in those days tended to be very racist. They had names like the African Dip. His job would have been to taunt white people into buying a chance to dunk him in the water tank. This persisted for decades. So we can kind of see why he took a job overseas in a band. He took a job with a touring band first in Australia, and it was the last minstrel show to tour Australia. But he ended up in England working in like resort hotels in England and Paris, and there's a lot of, from the 1910s, there are an awful lot of things about him traveling around. But also they referred to him as Black Lightning, the world's champion trap drummer. Now, trap drumming was something that was briefly popular in the 1910s. It was then reused a lot in radio. These were drum kits that were put together with all kinds of like percussion and special effects. They said that he had 60 or 70 different sounds that were made from instruments with a question mark in parentheses. He would use all of these weird syncopation things to keep the rhythm going. And there's a great thing that he goes mad, the music goes mad, and everyone goes mad, and it's super ragtime. You can just hear the announcer, especially on that Earl Father Hines one. Super ragtime. He goes mad and everyone goes mad and the music goes mad. It's super ragtime with the world's champion trap drummer Hughes Pollard. So there's been a lot of articles about the Pollard family over the last several years as the first black family in Rogers Park. A lot of them are just rehashing the same info. One that comes up quite a bit is that Hughes died from exposure to mustard gas in World War I, years after the war. I couldn't really establish either that, first I couldn't establish he was a jazz drummer at all, but I did find 1917 at the Savoy Hotel, Guy Magley and Milady Adore in Modern Dance, assisted by the Jazz Band, with Hughes Pollard, the eccentric drummer. Whether he was in World War I is a whole other thing. This is the right time period, but all we've got on military records for him is a draft card, like everybody has, and an FBI file saying that they couldn't find him in Chicago. His mother explained that he was playing the drums overseas, and they said they weren't sure if she was telling the truth, but didn't really push the issue. So if he served, it might have been with the English or French armies. He does kind of fall out of the newspaper records around then. But about 1925, he was apparently still in England, and 1926, he died here in Chicago of cirrhosis, according to the death record anyway. But we have also got Luther Pollard, his brother, who lived up until the 1970s and was still giving interviews to newspapers, but primarily by then reminiscing about his time in the motion picture industry. In 1915, he started Ebony Films, one of the first black-owned production studios. There's actually some video clips of this. We've shown some of these on the silent film shows.
I watched comics,
Luther talking.
and I saw that pantomime was the thing that made comedies entertaining, and I could see no reason why they could not excel as screen comedians. And I finally decided to produce pictures with American Negro actors. We were the first company that specialized in that.
A parade.
They remember in these videos and in the interviews he gave at the time, even when somebody who worked on the movie said it was the most fun they ever had. At the time, the reviews were decidedly more mixed. In fact, one of the earliest uses I have seen of the word crap in print in its more modern form is referring to the Ebony films. Really, they were controversial among black audiences because they were slapstick, and some people thought it was damaging to show black actors doing things like that. I often compare it to the Sound of Jazz special from the 1950s, the last time Billie Holiday played with Lester Young, and Nat Hentoff, the producer, wanted everybody in regular streetwear, like it was a regular informal after-hours jam session. So this was like 1950 streetwear, sport coats, fedoras, what we would now call practically formal. But the fact that it wasn't formal wear really got under people's skin. Like the NAACP condemned the special because it showed them wearing street clothes, not formal wear. Which now we tend to think a little bit differently. They're like, why should only white people get to wear streetwear? Why should only white people get to do slapstick? So yeah, this is what we've been covering over on the Patreon lately. I've also just found some very interesting things, just like walking around Graceland after the tour yesterday, taking pictures of interesting graves and regions that I need to cover for the next book. I found Reverend J.H. Jackson, who was the most prominent black clergyman critic of Martin Luther King, actually changed the address of his church. It's on 31st and MLK. We still pass it all the time. But when South Parkway changed its name to Martin Luther King, he changed the address so it was now 405 East 31st. Initially, he had been friends with Dr. King, but he didn't approve of civil disobedience. I shouldn't be saying this with Fritz Pollard underneath me. But that's a whole other thing. There's always new stuff to find out on these tours. So everybody, thank you very much for joining me. We do have Strange Tales of Hyde Park is going to run day after tomorrow here at 8 p.m. I haven't done that one in over a year. I'm always finding out new stuff. We're going to talk a bit about Gertrude Abercrombie, who has this picture on my wall right now, the Jazz Witch of Chicago. So lots of great stuff coming up. There will be no walking tour this weekend because I'm going to be out of town, but I might be able to do some really interesting broadcasts over the course of the next few days following that up around the Northeast in some cities that I've definitely never broadcast from before. We might have to do like a Find a Grave Sunday or something, or Find a Grave Monday. Yeah, Sunday and Monday I know I'm going to be around at 11 o'clock Eastern Time. If it's not too blazingly, dyingly hot, we're going to find a grave in a whole new state. All right, I love doing this. So keep watching out for that. Everybody, thank you very much for joining me. I am Adam for Mysterious Chicago Tours. Thanks, everybody, for coming out. Thanks for those of you who've been sending me a line. Thanks for everything, everybody. I'm Adam for Mysterious Chicago. Also, this week, there's a brand new podcast going to be recorded. I shouldn't say too much more. It was going to be one from the vaults. I may be working on a different title now. Brainstorming. Always thoughts, stuff going on. And Kathleen, that is in fact the TV on the wall, but it shows screensavers. But thanks everybody. I'm Adam from Mysterious Chicago Tours, telling everybody, stay safe, stay strong, and of course, if you can, register for Mystericon. Mystericon.com. That is coming up in just a couple of months. We'll get everything together by then. It's another thing weighing heavily on me as I try to get everything together. But thanks everybody. I'm Adam from Mysterious Chicago Tours. Stay safe, stay strong, stay cool. Like you have any trouble staying cool. And stay spooky, everybody.